Hi guys, it's Ryan here from leprivatebanker.com. Just going to do a quick recap for the week here on gold and crude futures. Starting off with gold, still looking very rotational here. We pretty much finished the week up imbalanced as usual. Pretty much a lot of mean reversions this week. Trade scenarios. I mean, if you sort of missed the moves, then it was great sort of market to take reversions back to the mean prices on the day time frame. So I'm just going to quickly go over on what I saw on Friday, and I will continue to go from there. So I mean, we had a 2-day balance on Wednesday and Thursday, and on the Friday we opened up pretty much in the lower distribution of the Thursday's trade, and we basically saw price rejecting value into the RTH open. I mean, we'd already seen this sort of first move down and then the pullback to the developing value area high and back into the previous day's value, and we just see instant rejection and the market sold off, pushing a new low in, pretty much just taking out stops on the previous 2 days, 3 days lows. From the start of the week we saw this nice push up. I mean, they basically ran the stops below the previous week's low, and then we just basically came back into value on the weekly, and we see a destination of last week's value here. So as I said, we came back to the main weak point of control, the Vwap, the mean Vwap mean, and we see rotations back down to the developing value area low, which lined up with the previous week's value, and we just see rotation back to the previous value high on last week. And from then on, the market pretty much just see balance, and we just see rotations inside of this week's value. So going into the open on Friday, what I was looking at was a short. There was news out at 8:30, and the market just didn't line up. So what I ended up doing was trying to buy the lows, because that would have been the destination for this trade. And I got nailed on this first move down. I mean, I tried to get long in this area, and I just took a small stop on this. I just closed the position out as we see no buying come into the market, and I ended up establishing a position a bit lower. I mean, we did line up with this week's developing value in the area that I was trying to fade, and we just see this push down to the weekly IB low and to the 1.5 standard deviation on the week, and I ended up taking another fade as a mean reversion into the sort of 1289s. So I got in this area here at 1289s, and we see this nice rotation back to the mean where I got fully scaled out, and we see a rejection of the previous days, or we see an inside day, so we see a rejection of an outside day from Thursday's trade, and I basically got scaled into the mean here, and I was trying to get a bit greedy and maybe see this point of control got tested, but we see this last sort of push up to the previous value into the initial balance high on the pit, and we just couldn't trade above this area. I ended up just taking profit at Vwap. So still sort of nice 4-point rotation to the mean there. So I mean, if you got that 3 contracts, you get a nice some nice profits on this. Some things to note here is, obviously on the daily we've got this higher time frame sort of macro bracket, and now we've got this real micro bracket as this market just is continuing to consolidate here. Get a bit tongue tied there, and this is why the mean reversions are great. So if you don't fade the extremes, I mean, once the move's over, you can just take these mean reversion trades like I have been all week. I'm just going to show you a couple of entries I took this week for the mean reversions. I mean, this day here, I missed this initial move up, so I waited for the market to come back into value, and then I took the mean reversion from the value area high, which also lined up with the halfway back on the initial balance, and I just targeted the mean. On Tuesday, I got long off the value area low, and I targeted the previous day's mean as a calculated trade. Could have got some more on this, but just ended up just targeting the mean of this, and worked out pretty nice as a calculated trade. And then again on Monday, just took this mean reversion from this high back to the mean here. So just loads of mean reversions. Like I say, if you don't catch this initial move up, I mean, I trade the US pit session, so I missed some of the moves in the morning before the open. So I just, once the market's exhausted, I fade the extreme and take the reversions back to the mean for them sort of destination trades that work out very well. And another thing to sort of note here is the fact that we see rotations down to the value extreme on the week. I mean, this is the volume composite for the week, and we see rotation down to the real extreme, and then we see rotations back all the way to the Vwap for the week. So just real interest in that, and also lines up with the previous day's Vwap on Thursday. So these areas are key areas in rotational markets. As you can see, the quarterly is still looking very rotational, the monthly is still looking very rotational, and the weekly and the yearly's looking still very rotational. If we look at this week's current bars, I mean, again closed inside last week. I mean, we did punch low into the open on this week, but we couldn't put in another high. Last week we closed out quite bearish, and we closed out higher, lower than we have done this whole period. And this week's just an inside. We closed inside with a sort of doji sort of bar. So, and we closed inside this current bracket. So, I mean, until we clearly break out above or below, then we just play the ranges of this bracket and wait for change. If we look at the composite that I'm currently tracking, we can clearly see that there's a real gravitational area between this sort of 13.7s and this 12.76. So until we sort of break out this real high volume area, with the point of control being the sort of 94, 93s area, it's just fade the extremes until we break off above or below this area. I mean, it does look like we want to sort of fill in some key volume here in these areas, but who knows what ways this market's going to go until it makes its next move and decision. Once that happens, the market will become imbalanced, and we'll trade with the balance until the new value balance area is extreme is formed. Looking at crude oil, quite rotational on Friday as well. I mean, we see an imbalance at the start of the week as we rejected the previous week's value, and we started to migrate towards this year's value area high, and also the current yearly developing value area high for this week, which also lines up on multiple time frames. This lines up with this quarter's developing value area high also, where we start to see support coming in this week. On the current monthly, we are still out of balance to the buyer side, and we are rejecting value, so this could go either way at the minute depending on how we open and develop next week. Some just key factors on this market without going into too much detail. I mean, we formed a bracket here from the sort of 99.32s, and obviously the destination becomes the 103.20 high. One other thing to note here is the fact that we have seen volume rollover. We'll be trading the July contract going in on to trade on Monday, and we put 135,000 contracts traded on the June, so we have rolled over. We was trading the June contract on Friday, and we are now migrating to the July contract. Sorry. Like I said, the destination of this market becomes the high at the 103 area. So depending on how we play out here, but as you can see, we've found support in this area, and we've broken away. So like I said, the destination becomes the high, and then we play the market from there. So in some tough spots on crude at the minute. I mean, it does look like we might try push higher and clean up this previous high for this year, but we are still in inside year for the moment. Anyway, I'll catch you all next week, and I hope you had a great week and a great weekend. Take care and goodbye.